Rhett, you get hired officially there at SMU. I think it was like November 29th, something like that. You get hired. When you are finally clear through that hurdle, what is the first thing you're trying to focus on with the new job?
I think obviously it was my first time doing it, but I think in the past, other guys I saw do it, they would come in and you're right. On a Monday, November 29th, I met the team at 9 o'clock in the morning. And typically you would have walked in and introduced yourself, been all excited about the future, told them all these things and said, hey, I'm going to go finish recruiting these next 2 weeks. You guys finish up finals. I'm going to go finish up recruiting. I'm going to hire some coaches. Can't wait to get back around you, yada, yada, yada. But I just think with the transfer portal and the just the uniqueness of probably this job situation with Sonny going to TCU of all places and, knowing all the players here, just not that anything's wrong with that. That's just a normal uniqueness to this situation. It just was different. And, just the whole timeline of Friday night, these guys had been in a hotel room getting ready to play Tulsa on Saturday, and they find out across the ticker their coach is going to TCU. I'm in Durham in a hotel room on that Friday night getting ready to play Duke the next day. I get up, play Duke on Saturday, get back into Miami at 10 or 11 at night. These guys play their game, lose a hard one to Tulsa on senior day. Sunday, they have some meeting. They know it's a Sunday. I'm flying to Dallas. It's just a lot of things were happening fast for everybody. And so I just went into that meeting, and it wasn't a big, exciting meeting. It was I wanted those guys to understand that I knew that this change is hard, and they're going through a lot right now. And it's a lot to process for anybody, much less, 17, 18, 22-year-old kids over the last 72 hours. And, I didn't take it personal. I didn't think it had anything necessarily to do with me. It just was the state they were in. It was just so much had happened. And I just asked them just point blank to give me an opportunity to earn their trust. I didn't expect it. Just give me the opportunity to do it. And I knew it would take time. And I told them that they were my priority, not hiring a staff, not recruiting, not going to meet our supporters and all the probably 150 other things that you're supposed to do in your first 100 days or first week on the job. I just felt like for some reason that this is your team. These are the guys are on your team. And right now in college football, for the first time ever, they can go wherever they want to go. And on top of it, their head coach just went across town. And fortunately for me, I knew half of them. I had recruited half of them. The other half I didn't know. But at least maybe they were able to ask the ones that knew me. And I did. So I told them, I said, you guys are my priority. This is your team. It's my job to lead your team. And I did. So I walked out of that meeting Monday at 10 o'clock. And from Monday through Friday of that week, the only day I recruited was Thursday. All Monday afternoon, all Tuesday, all Wednesday, all Friday, I met one-on-one with every player on the team. Tuesday and Wednesday morning, I had offensive meeting and defensive meeting. And I was just meeting with them as much as I could to try to just help settle things down for them, just because it was a lot, And so really that's probably the thing that I didn't expect to be the first week on the job. I would have thought I would have met the team at 9, and by noon I was in Highland Park High School or something, and doing that deal. And it's just not the way it was in this situation. I don't know if it's the way it's going to be in college football anymore, because I had to get to know my guys that were on the team for them to stay. And if they didn't stay, we weren't going to have a team. So that was the priority for me.
Yeah, you just mentioned it there. I mean, college football's changed so much because of the transfer portal, and especially now that players are allowed immediate eligibility once in their careers, and so you got to kind of re-recruit. I mean, in any coach, even the second or third year coach, I got to re-recruit during that first week of December, in a lot of instances. Do you think that's had an effect, just on you see the hiring cycle now? We're seeing coaching changes a little bit earlier in the calendar, and even with this situation, was it one of those things where near the end of the year, as you said, you're trying to prepare your offense at Miami to go against Duke, but in the back of your mind, I got to go figure this out at a new gig, my first big head coaching gig.
Yeah, I do think it's changing how things are sped up. I think that's why, SMU moved so quick to get me here when they knew that Sonny was leaving. I think you're seeing that everywhere else. And it's hard. It's hard on coaches and, to finish the season. And And then if, for Sonny, for example, he knew what he was doing, but he wanted to do things the right way here. And it's just hard. And I think schools are trying to get coaches in place so fast. I think their first thought was that early signing period, in December. And that has a lot to do with it. But really the transfer piece probably has really added another layer to it that I don't know anybody ever thought really would exist.
So, any coach, or I would think any professional, like even myself, like I have a list in the back of my pocket if I ever start a business or side business of people I trust.
Yep.
So you have an idea going into the job at SMU. These are the guys I'd like to have on my staff. How quickly do you start reaching out to future staff members, and what was it like building your first staff?
Pretty quick. Maybe even a few if you really, really trust them, even the week before when it's probably going to happen, but you just got to be careful with that. I think, I had always been told this, that, you always have this idea who you're going to hire, and then you get a job, and every job's different. Every job has different needs. Every staff, every place, you have to have different pieces, and you're never going to be able to hire everybody you really think you were going to hire. And that's true. There's some really good people that I've worked with that I would love to work with. And if you'd asked me 2 weeks before I got the job, I'd say, yeah, I'd hire them. And I would, but maybe it just didn't work out this time. But I did. I was able to, going back to the timeline, that was Monday. I think by Wednesday, I had 2 guys that had been with me for a long time, just Johnny Brewer and Kyle Cooper, that I knew were coming. So I got them here quickly. I didn't even tell them. I said, I don't even know what you're coaching yet. Just come on. And had an idea, but knew I had to fill out 8 more spots on the staff. So I didn't want to kind of, overpromise anything there. And got Casey Woods hired by Thursday, I believe, to be the OC. And, Casey's someone that I've known for a long time, trust, but he's really, really good. He's really organized. He's good. I knew he would do a really good job of helping me stabilize things both in recruiting and just here with the staff because, the entire staff here had left. Yeah. And so there really wasn't much here that first week. And so hindsight, it probably is good. I just spent all the time with the players because I don't know if I'd have been trying to do a lot of other stuff. I didn't have a whole lot of help. But and so then it just became a process after that of, we got some people here, so you're not doing it alone. And I've just always felt like you want to get it right more than get it fast. So had certain guys that we targeted, let some other situations elsewhere develop. People were in bowl games, people had conference championship games. So you had to let certain things happen that sometimes people don't understand. You got to let guys get out of a contract, get out of this, get out of that. And so, really over the course of that December month into early January, it kind of unfolded. And I think I wanted to get the right people here more than have a whole staff hired to recruit for 1 week, before December signing period. So it was a lot of fun. It was interesting, just again, trying to hire 10 different coaches, different specific roles, that process, but it was fun. And I feel like we got the right 10 guys here.
When was the last time you had to build a staff, of any sort, more than 2 people? Have you ever had to do that before?
Never. No. Yeah. Other than, no, offensive staff's about the biggest. And even then, I always had a head coach who was very involved. So I had some say in it, but I wasn't building the whole thing. And I think the thing that gets overlooked is it's not just your 10 coaches. It's not just your strength coach, which is really important. Yeah. You've got analysts, you've got GAs, you've got an entire support staff. You've got an entire ops department, entire recruiting department, entire, in this day and age, graphics, social media, creative department. And so there's a lot of people and you're trying to get the right people and you need everybody.
How do you, I was going to, sorry. How do you delegate that? How do you you're not making every single hire, I would think, just with personnel, right? Or how involved are you in that? Because that seems like a lot of names to go over.
Yeah. Well, I think you get the right kind of leaders in place, and then getting Casey and then in place. Hey, he can kind of help me filter through some of the offensive stuff. I hired Bobby and Alex Brown in recruiting, and then let them help me fill out the rest of the recruiting so they could take the lead on some of the vetting process and discovering people and getting a list. And then, hey, we talked to the final 2 or 3 people. So I was involved in all of it, but it allowed me, as we started to hire some people, to try to, as you say, delegate and let those guys help me out. Because I learned real quick, you're going to have to let people help you out if you want to make it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You can't do everything. I'm always interested to hear head coaches now, like what their not necessarily their interview process is like, but what are they asking candidates to see if they fit in their own program and their own mindset and wavelength. So what are maybe a couple of questions, things you're looking for when you're talking to a candidate, whether it's an on-field coach or even just a grad assistant or someone like that?
I try to get just a feel for who they are. Most of the time you hire people you already know,
Mm-hmm.
or someone really, really well that knows them to the level that you trust them that much. I just try to get a feel for the person because I believe if you hire the right people, then you can fix the problems. Um, so, you know, look, most of the time it's kind of like me in a head coaching interview, or you get to the interview because you're qualified.
Right.
So I'm talking to these people for these positions because they're qualified, and so I'm trying to more get a feel for who they are. Do they fit my personality? Are we going to work well together? Are they the type of person that I want to have on the staff and in our culture here? That's what I'm trying to find out. And honestly, I found usually after about 30 minutes, whether it's like this or hopefully in person, I get a pretty good feel for people. And hopefully they get a feel for me one way or the other. And usually I know pretty quick if I think they're a good fit. But I've always just felt life's about people. You get the right people on board, you're going to have problems. You're going to have disagreements. You got to have the right people that can work together. Because if you don't, then that's when you got a bad culture, and then you just got divisiveness, and then it's hard to really have everybody pulling in the same direction.
So you've got all this going on. You're hiring. You're trying to keep players on campus. You got some recruiting, early signing period, and then of course, holidays coming up, and you've got a family, of course. So you've got to
Yeah.
move to Dallas. You've got I don't know if anybody knows this. I'm sure they do, but you've got two sets of twins and a family to move across halfway across the country. How did you handle that? Because I understand you actually. I mean, a lot of people just think, well, coach, they got money, so he'll just go playing up in Dallas and let the family figure out a way up there. But that's not the case with you.
No, 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 it's not. No, I do. I have two sets of twins, 11-year-old boys, 5-year-old girls, an incredible wife. And they were here November 29th. And on the 30th, we had a press conference. And then they flew back to Miami and they finished school. And I worked till probably like the 21st or 2nd of December. Didn't see them for those 3 weeks. They're back in Miami trying to be in a routine, getting ready for Christmas and finishing school, but knowing now that they're moving, and my wife's trying to get all that stuff going. And no, it's not just easy like people think. It's hard. It's hard being away from your family. It's hard on your family. It's hard on us. It's hard on coaches. I've still got coaches here on, the middle of February, almost into February, that their families are still not moved. That's just the transition process in coaching is really, really tough. Sometimes all the way up even till June. Some people get their families right away, some spring break, some not till the end of the school year. Then it's hard. And I was able to go back. We were able to have Christmas. I didn't even know Christmas was happening till like the day it happened. Just like it didn't even feel like December. And and then my wife did a good job. She found a rental house here and just said, "We're getting there." And so we did. They got up here and we got them in school in January, and just kind of ripped the Band-Aid. It was hard. But we're all together, and that makes it possible. At the end of the day, everybody's together, and it helped us coming back to Dallas, a place we had been just several years ago. So there's some familiarity there, but I don't think people understand. It's hard to do any job. We all know this, right? If your family situation isn't stable. And so when you're taking the biggest challenge you've ever had, and a great challenge and opportunity, but your family's separated from you, and that's an added layer to things. It's not easy.
When did you realize you wanted to be a coach? Because I know, after college, I think you worked, you did some marketing for, you started
Yeah.
up a high school magazine in Arkansas. I'm sure you just saw coaching your blood. I guess just here real quick, kind of, when did you realize I want to be a coach and maybe a head coach someday, or was head coach ever really in your mind?
I actually realized I wanted to be a coach when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And my dad, who had been a high school coach, wasn't anymore, was a businessman in Springdale, Arkansas, was coaching my little Kiwanis kids teams. And I'd go play. He'd coach me. We'd go. I was a big Joe Montana fan. He was in the heyday with the Niners. I'd watch him. I love Bill Walsh. I just wanted to be a coach. And then I played, and so then all I thought about was playing. And then that career ended, and I GA'd at Arkansas in 06 with Houston Nutt and Gus, and I thought, this is it, I'm coaching. And then when Gus went to Tulsa, I was going to Tulsa with him. Long story short, I didn't go, and pretty much ended my coaching career by not going at that point. All signs would point to that, and I did. I started a marketing company and a magazine with my brother-in-law there out of Northwest Arkansas for about 22 months. And about 6 months into it, and it was good. It was fun to do something different, and we did fine. It probably wasn't a long-term career, but about 6 months into it, I knew, I can't. I got to coach. And honestly, I was about to. Chris Wood, another one of my high school coaches, was the head coach at Harbor High School, still is in Springdale, and I'd already talked to him about, hey, after this year, how do I get certified to come be your OC at Harbor? And I was just going to coach high school just because I felt like that's what I was called to do. And Gus got the job down at Auburn, and he called me and said, "Do you want back in?" I said, "Yes." And I was in. The rest is history. And this just sounds weird. I never really felt like I was going to be an offensive coordinator or a play caller. I did always, for some reason, see myself as a head coach. That sounds weird. But there's processes you go through, obviously. And, spending, I think it was 11 years or maybe 12 as an OC, hopefully has prepared me for this opportunity. And, I think it's what I feel called to do, leading our kids, leading a staff, because I think you can really still impact lives. I really believe you can, even this day and age with NIL and the transfer portal, to get to do what I love to do, but still have an impact on guys that, man, when they call you or still come back, it just, Shane Bichelle was in the building last week, who I got to coach here at SMU the first time I was here. He's just finished his rookie year with the Kansas City Chiefs, and just to get a big hug from him. And James Prochet came back after his second year with the Ravens, coached him here my 2 years here. And to have those guys come back and just give you these big bear hugs and tell you how happy they are you're here, happy they are to see you, and what an impact you had on their life. Shoot, they had a bigger impact on my life than I had on theirs, but that's the why.